And that's when you show me that level of lack of understanding and situational awareness and recklessness, I can no longer teach you
Yeah.
because you have gravitated towards delusion because your ego is so big and so strong that you don't know what you're saying. So you say, okay, where's this man at? Where's these men? They're out here. But your filter is only picking up, or your radar is only picking up the weak man.
You know what?
Because the weak man mimics you.
Which is true.
You and him got the same thing in common.
True.
And that's the problem. Go
You
ahead.
know what? You know what? Women don't know what a good man is.
Hey, it's Goldie, and I'm back with another video. This time, I'm talking about me being a pick-me. So I made a video a couple days ago about decentering men and how it's actually holding you back. And the comments there sent me through the roof. One of the things that a few of the ladies recommended was that I check out Princella because obviously I'm a pick-me and Princella could help me not be a pick-me. Now, this was just hilarious to read that me, of all people, could be a pick-me, but I understand it because some women have a an issue with really thinking about the words that I say deeply. And when you assess them on surface level, then you miss the nuance and you miss my true intention. And maybe I guess it comes off as a little pick-me-ish. So anyway, I've been listening to Princella for a year or two. I don't know how long, but I'm not a faithful listener of hers for several reasons. Okay. And, but I decided to take a listen to her most recent video and see what I had been missing out. Okay. Now, Princella had some guy named Purpose on her show. And I'm going to include a lot of little clips about this and explain a little bit of my perspective about this. But this is precisely why I don't listen to Princella regularly, because what was the point of him? What was the point of him? All right, but let's take a listen.
Compliment the nature of a man.
Ooh. Let me add to that. I tell women this. I was raised by my grandmother, right? So my grandma was hard. I'm not a mama's boy. I'm not a daddy's boy. My grandmother, I was in special ed. Couldn't read. My grandmother said, let me explain something to you, son. Nobody cares a damn if you can't read or write. You need to understand this world is cruel. And you need to go out here and you need to get it. She raised me. She didn't coddle me. She raised me, not nurture me. You can nurture a daughter.
Exactly.
But you got to raise a son.
Exactly.
Because the world has a higher expectation and it's crueler and it's a certain way to men.
All right, so we can already tell from the jump that we are listening to a man who is somewhat unbalanced. I don't know the reasons why, but he was not raised by mom or dad. He went into later in the video about how he had challenged his dad, and I'm guessing he knows his dad. He had a relationship with him to some degree, but dad didn't raise him. So that lets you know already from jump that he didn't have a strong male role model in his life. Now, he also talks about the fact that men shouldn't be nurtured. And this is precisely the reason why there are so many problems with this particular demographic of men. And it is because they don't have nurturing. You can nurture a man. You actually should nurture a boy child up until he's like maybe 5 or 6. But you definitely should rear him and grow him in love. always wanting to be disciplinarian or harsh or mean or cold to boy children is the reason why these men are growing up and not having no damn common sense. Okay, so when he talks about that he wasn't nurtured, that's precisely the reason why he will go into. You know what? Y'all gonna have to watch that video because I didn't spend all my time collecting clips from that whole video and I didn't watch the whole thing. But he talks about how he is divorced, how he, I guess, has a relationship with his sons the way his dad had a relationship with him. He just brings up so many different red flags that lets you know that this is an unbalanced man and not a man that we should be listening to. Now, I also want to comment that when I am talking about men that are worth your time, men that you should be taking a second to listen to or hear or engage them or even consider them for a date or even more, I'm not talking about this kind of man. A lot of times y'all talk about men who don't have a job, men who don't have a place to stay, men who don't have a car. Like, what is y'all doing? Why is these men even on your radar? There's no way a guy like Purpose with his mindset, ideology, or anything, like, could say anything to me. He would not be in my radar. He definitely is not a man that I would be accepting advice from. You know why? Because he can only advise me from his perspective. And a lot of the homegirls that he talked about are broken women, just like he's a broken man. Now, you can use that to correlate how Princella found so much common ground with him, but this video not really about her, but it's more so about the fact that y'all need to understand what a pick-me is, okay? Because for me, ain't no way this man can have an audience with me. And I don't see how you ladies who are considered to be elevated to some degree could sit here and find any redeeming quality in any minute of this 3-hour-long conversation. But let's keep going.
I tell this story all the time. When I first got in the military, I was 12 Bravo. I'll never forget this. I had a brand new pairs of shoes, but it was 3 dudes from the hood. And they said, my man, I'm gonna need them shoes. And my drill sergeant looked at me and said, if you let them take your shoes, you're gonna be clipping their toenails. I said, I ain't letting nobody take nothing. So I went in there and I beat the brakes off of all of them, right? Because I had to. I didn't get in trouble. Nobody yelled at me. I didn't get reprimanded. Why? It's because men have a tendency for violence, and there's an expectation that if you go so far, this is what's going to happen, where women do not. Women do not have a hierarchy. They don't respect the hierarchy, and they disrespect each other every day, right? But I was raised to be able to understand that is how I'm supposed to respond. I wasn't nurtured to run from it. And if I was nurtured to run from it, I would have handled it differently. And then I would have ended up developing a passive aggressive nature as a man. And a passive aggressive nature as a man is dangerous.
Exactly. It is.
And a lot of women try to nurture men when you have to understand that is not his fucking nature.
Yep.
He needs to understand that you need to be, shout out to Jordan Peterson, you need to be dangerous but disciplined to be able to handle it. But most men, they shy away from their carnal nature. This is why they don't know how to handle it and develop it as it comes around.
Now, here he goes into a little bit about how his drill sergeant, I think he said, told him how to stand up and defend himself when some boys from the hood, who obviously was more rough and tougher than him, 3 of them tried to take his shoes. So he said that he went in there and whooped all 3 of their behinds. I don't believe it. I don't believe it like that. But I mean, who's to say he's lying? But he was obviously soft because his drill sergeant had to teach him in the moment at 18, 19, 20, however old he was, that if he let them boys punk him, they was going to be punking him for the rest of the time that he was there. But see, this is very important to pay attention to, because what that highlights is that he has something to prove. And a lot of times when these men like him from his demographic have something to prove, instead of proving it against other men, they turn around and prove it against you. They take it out on you. So you are sitting there trying to have a relationship with somebody who is trying to find a way to make sure that you see them as superior or an authoritarian, because nobody else sees them that way. Nobody else in the world sees them that way. So the only way they can assert their dominance is if you see them that way. But the crazy thing is, while I was listening to him, it made me think about somebody else. It made me think about somebody else. And the fact that Princella was agreeing took me back to the fact of why I didn't listen to her in the first place.
Tried to say that stuff and it set the black community on fire. Why is this? Because between the men on this platform right now, if we were in public, we have to moderate what we say, whether we know each other or not, because there's a low-level threat of violence and aggression between all men. Fuck YouTube, fuck degrees, fuck money. You cross a certain line with a man, we're gonna have to shoot the fair one. We know that. You can be in a wheelchair, you can be on a crutch, whatever. You can be special. You got to do that. But see, there is no low-level threat of violence between women and men today. Women are allowed to be verbally disrespectful beyond the point of reason because there's no consequence, because they don't fear the repercussion.
Yeah, so your boy actually reminded me of the Cat Daddy. Now, if we remember clearly, I think Cat Daddy was raised by his grandmother as well. We also know that Cat Daddy was divorced one or two times, and just overall, verbally, mentally, and emotionally abusive, if you want to be technical about it, to his women audience. So here we have a man that Princella brought on her show that she agrees with, talking about women in the way that they should be treated similar to how he would treat his peers, other men. And this is made okay for him because of how he was raised to handle such situations, okay? When we talk about the fact that this is a man that's unbalanced from the very beginning, not having the masculine and feminine influence from his mother and father in the same household, when we talk about that from the very beginning, then all of this stuff makes sense. So when we get into the conversation about pygmies and decentering men, if you cannot understand, if you cannot identify flaws, I mean fatal flaws in male behavior at the very just 5 seconds of talking to them, then that is the true issue. It's not decentering the man. It's decentering the part of you that thinks that it's okay to be spoken to or related to in this way. That is the real issue, and that is what I'm speaking to.
We have to compete. We have to. We know that. We know that there's a competitive nature in us that we have to compete. We have to compete for everything. Jobs, provisions, everything. We have to compete. When we was back in the wild and the hunters gatherers, we had to compete against the lion. Because if we kill this, we had to hurry up, kill it, because that lion smells that blood, and that's an easy prey. That's easy. The same thing men do. The man is not going to go for a woman who got her shit together. Who is he gonna go for?
A weak one.
Where do they do that in the wild?
Right. And this is the
Where
part that
and
women
women,
don't get.
I'm about to get attacked. Where do
Yeah.
they do that in the wild? Well, he don't supposed to do that, Joe.
Oh,
Fuck you mean? Why is he don't supposed to?
right.
Think about it. If what would a lion actually go for? That animal that's half that got his leg broken, or he will go after that vibrant, healthy gazelle? No, he gonna take that one that got his leg broken, the slowest one. I teach in my class. I always show this video of a pack of lions, right? And they show them looking at a herd of buffaloes, and what they're looking for is which one of those are the weakest and slowest. They're looking for the one that's out here, that's slow, that's old, that don't move. And then they start to hone in on that one that's the weakest and slowest, right? And they say, that's the one I'm gonna get. The same thing. What do men do? I'm gonna go after the woman who don't bathe, who don't take care of herself, who don't read, who's arrogant and thinks she can't be played, who talk about Jesus juice and all this other stuff, all this scarcity mindset stuff. And all I simply have to do is be agreeable.
That's it.
It's easy. That is easy.
It's easy, and all you gotta do is go up to a woman who thinks she the baddest, who think every dude want her, right? She got
Now here we are. Exactly where I thought we were going. Straight to the predator talk. Now, I don't know why guys like him and women who identify with this type of conversation feel that we need to relate human behavior, evolved human behavior, and even modern human behavior to the wild safari or to the animal kingdom or to Animal Digest. Like, why are we comparing supposedly mature, civilized men to a lion? Why are we doing that? What sense does that make? But to just go further with the example that he used, why would keep in mind, a healthy, competent, successful, proud, confident man seek a woman who is broken, hurt, immobilized, disabled, in order to mate with her for any reason under any circumstance? Why would a man that had the world at his fingertips seek a woman who was wounded to do anything with? And see, that's why that's why I'm telling you this is predator talk. This is the talk of an abuser. And if you aren't astute enough to recognize this just from the first couple words, then yes, you don't need to be in the dating market. You need to be in the house, locked in the house. You need to be getting all your groceries delivered to you. You need to be getting people to come out and take your garbage out for you. You need to be getting all your services brought to your door. Don't you leave your front door. Don't you set foot off your porch. If you don't understand that in a wounded state, in a weakened state, in an unhealthy or unhealed state, you should not be in the dating field. If you don't get that very basic premise, then I see how you could find commonality or common ground with what Princella is talking about, or what this man purpose is talking about. But healthy, healed men, they go after the gazelle. And let me tell you, they go after the prettiest one. They go after the gazelle that has drank the cleanest of the stream water. Okay? They go after the gazelle that has been gallivanting through the safari and just basking in the sunlight. They go after the gazelle that has not been in immense battle. You know why? Because they want that gazelle to birth little baby gazelles for them. And they understand that in order for them to have little baby gazelles that they can be happy and proud of, that they can be bragging on and touting around and showing to their friends, that those babies have to come from a healthy mother. They understand that. So when you meet a man that is talking about this predator talk and saying how men go for the low hanging fruit, how men go for the weakest link, how men go for the easiest woman, then you need to understand immediately what you are dealing with and who you are dealing with. That is something that you should immediately run and protect yourself from. This man is not spitting any game. Okay, this is similar to walking up to a stove, and before you put your hand on the eye, you can feel the heat, you can feel the intensity, you know that the stove is on, you can see the light that says surface hot. You see all of this before your hand touches the eye. It's in that moment where you should back up and say, let me let this cool down. This might not be the right time. Okay? Sitting here and trying to make it seem like there's any redeeming quality in a man who deals with the lowest of the low and the easiest of the easy is only a reflection of you and what you think you deserve. But again, his words made me think of someone else. Made me think of another bottom barrel dweller. Let's take a listen.
Poverty, I can control them better. A girl who can't afford to say, you, Corey, I'm gone. She just can't afford to do it. So I take advantage of that. Now, that might be wrong, but her poverty and my needs, most of the time, it even...
So like Cat Daddy, like Purpose, Corey Holcomb is another divorced man who is wounded, who is a predator at heart, who cannot be trusted, who is not looking to build anything meaningful with the woman, who is not looking to produce a meaningful legacy for his children. He's of the same ilk as the other two guys. There is a pathology between these kinds of men. And the important thing for you is that you are able to identify that quickly and exit stage left.
They prey on these. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. We got to give them some credit. Let's give them some. I don't blame them. If you find a dude who willing to go out here, bust his head, get high blood pressure, get all this, and you don't have to do no emotional work, no nothing. You don't have to do anything. And this person is going to let you floss on social media, do all the things that you want to do. You don't have to do nothing. That's freaking easy. I understand. I don't never get mad at the women who were with me. And all of them said, hey, they would never date me now. But I understand why. Like, you don't have to do no work for me. You know, this guy right here, sole purpose and the sole reason why he's doing this is to make sure that he gets access to you. Mm-hmm. That's it. Because and people say, somebody said he's lying. Okay, I prove it. Break up with him. Do you still have access to it? Mm-hmm. Break up with him. Tell him he ain't never going to get access to put. Do you still have access to that? To all the benefits of being with him? No. My homegirl, when we had a snowstorm, she called her ex-husband and said, "Oh, you know, my car is stuck in the snow." And what's that? He said, "What you want me to do?" Well, you know, I gotta get this. He's what you want me to do? Mm-hmm. She said, "Well, you know, if you were a man, I had your children. I had this." He said, "What you want me to do?" Because the sole reason why he was doing all of that, because you were his. Mm-hmm. He ain't supposed to do that after you get divorced. This is the thing, I say this to anybody, and I'll be quiet. The people in the chat, I want to ask you a question. Does anybody actually know the elements of power? And most of them will say they don't know.
They don't. They don't
Ruthless.
know. You know, I know they don't know. Cause my show is called the High Power Podcast, and when I turn up the power in here, a lot of these women get to squirming and playing the victim, and they don't know what power is. They really don't, because women are so used to being victims and positioning themselves as damsels in distress that can't change nothing. Women really don't know what power is, and when they're up against it, it's like they intimidated and they shy away. It's like they shrink. It's just a reality. You see it all day, every day.
Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah.
Like,
Now, here we go more into the conversation regarding why women are seen as prey by predators. We're not having a conversation about why the predators are out here looking to devour, but we're more so having a conversation about why the prey is being devoured. The reality is that women are softer than men, and women should be taken care of. The man Purpose mentioned his homegirl who who was snowed in and needed her car pulled out. And she said that she called her ex-husband, and he said, why would you think that he would do that? Because it ain't nothing in it for him. He not getting no sex, so why should he be willing to help you out? The lady is his ex-wife. She has children for this man. What do you mean? Why should he help you out? How could Purpose even understand that? And you know what? Another thing Purpose never mentioned, he never mentioned that he went out and helped her pull her car out. I bet you she had to figure out how to get her car out on her own. And see, Princella agreed with that. Why would you think that he would be there to help you to pull your car out? Because he's a decent human being. Because he understands that I'm his ex-wife and I have his children, and we need to get this car out so that we can go on about our day. That would be why he would be interested in helping me get this car out in this unfortunate circumstance where I've been snowed in. But see, Purpose and Princella, they don't want you to be a damsel in distress. They don't want you to be a demure feminine woman. They don't want you to be a delicate flower. No, they want you to be a rough and tough nigga like they are. You gotta be able to roll with the punches like any other man can. They want you to work hard. They want you to be a strong, independent black woman who don't need no man. They want you to pay half, okay? They want you to pull your own weight. Okay, y'all need to understand what y'all listening to while you are hearing it, okay? And understand what's really being said and how it relates to you. While you are thinking everything is pick-meism and all of this type of stuff, and the answer is decentering men. No, the answer is decentering the parts of you who don't see game being run when it's being run, who fall prey to crazy mindsets and ideologies like this. This is on you to be able to detect right away, or of course, you will be that weakened gazelle who will fall prey every single time to somebody with a predator mindset looking to take advantage of you.
yourself.
Treat them like whores.
Yeah, that's true. And here's the thing. When I tell women that all the time. I said, when you master yourself, and I say this in my class all the time, here is the risk. And me and you know this. A woman who improves on herself and conquers herself is almost no longer attractive at all.
Correct.
She has I say this in my class, if some of my lions in here. I said there's a possibility if you improve yourself and you become sovereign and you become a self-improved woman, there's a possibility you may be by yourself, because there's an overly abundance of weak men who wasn't that dude when they were young, who don't understand how to pursue their purpose. There's an overly abundance of that, and you either going to have to settle as a woman or hold out for a man who is actually about something. Well, where are those men at? That's work.
Yeah.
So you have to understand, as a woman, it's almost non-existent. So
Now, see, neither one of these two have good men in their networks. So they can't tell you about the ideology or the mindset of a good man. They can't tell you where to find them, where they might be, how to hang with them, what they talk about, things that they're interested in, places that they go to, ways that they relax. They can't tell you nothing. They can't tell you how they look, what they wear, what they would want their kids to be interested in, how they worship. They can't tell you nothing about what a good man is because they don't associate with those types. They associate with the predators and the abusers of the world, okay? So they can tell you all about a not shit, a no good man who gonna sit here and run game on you and catch you at your weakest moment and drag you to the point of death, okay? But they can't sit here and tell you how to identify a quality man. And see, in my decentering video, this is what I'm talking about. Decenter the part of you that identifies with predators. Decenter the part of you that identifies with abusers. Decenter the part of you that don't want to acknowledge that this is what you're doing. Decenter the part of you that takes the easy way out. Decenter the part of you that doesn't want to really put in the work to elevate yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, socially in order to get to a better pond of men. Decenter yourself from women who are just as bad as the men that we know take advantage of women. Decenter yourself from thinking there's any redeeming quality in any of this. Just ignoring men as a whole, just not talking to men as a whole, it's not going to get you there. When you talk to women and you listen to women who are just as bad as the men that you're trying to get yourself away from. All right? Now, I'm going to have to go in and make a part 2 to my decentering video. But y'all leave some comments below and let me know what you think. I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised that Black women in particular are still so vested in allowing themselves to be spoken to like trash, identifying with the least of us. I mean, just people that's just deep in the trenches. I don't understand why we as Black women have not begun to elevate higher on a mass scale. How come we still playing with these types? What is this? What is this? How can listening to two people talk about somebody who will go after the least of them benefit me in any way? Baby, I'm so far removed from that. Okay? I'm over here in the other pond swimming with men who are looking for wives, who are looking to birth children and create legacies and leave a strong lineage. That's what I'm on. Okay? A predator, an abuser, an emotionally, physical, mentally abuser. I mean, I can peep you from the moment you come in the door. Oh, I got you from the moment you come in the door. And if you go back and watch Princella's video, as soon as I got in the chat, I instantly clocked that this man was divorced. He speaks like a loser. He speaks like a divorced loser. Okay? It's easy and plain to see just from listening to a minute of his conversation. You know that this is not husband material. This is a man who has created a broken home. He can't tell you about men who don't create broken homes. He can't tell you about men who aren't losers and have been divorced. Y'all can miss me with that pick me, let's get down in the comments type of talk, because baby, I'm ready for some higher level conversations. I'm ready to ascend to a higher level. I'm ready to get my girls up to the next phase. Okay? This little break that I took to go back down in the trenches and address some people that live in the trenches and love being there, this is not what my focus is. It's not what my focus is. Y'all feel free to like the video, comment, share the video. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back. All right? Let me know what you think. Bye. Oh, okay, because I'm a little irritated. I'm a little flustered, okay? But anyway, learn how to vet men. Stop wasting your time and learn how to vet men. Now remember, your love is golden. Bye.